point, they will manipulate almost anything. Like, I think it's bad karma to lie about the state of your marriage.
And I just wanted to call up and let people know that this is what I've been trying to do for years.
And once I realized what Jay was doing, I was like, you know what?
The drama surrounding Jay-Z, Nas, and the woman caught in between them doesn't begin with a diss track. It begins with pride, with ego, with two young men rising out of New York City at the same time, both hungry, both brilliant, both determined to wear the crown. And in a city like that, there's rarely room for two kings. Before the billion-dollar deals, before the art gallery dates and global
I'm not gonna allow him to belittle Nas.
Right. And now that Nas took a stand, people are starting to really understand, like how it is.
Tours. Before the carefully polished image of hip-hop royalty, there was Sean Carter, ambitious, sharp, and relentlessly strategic. And there was Nasir Jones, poetic, street-rooted, already hailed as a prodigy after Illmatic shifted the culture. Their paths were destined to collide. But no one expected that collision to spill so deeply into their personal lives. In the mid-90s, Nas was building his legacy while navigating a relationship with Carmen Bryan, a young woman.
Anymore. Like, I'm the only person on the planet that could belittle this nigga. I'm not letting any.
And I think that they are
working within the music industry. She wasn't a video vixen chasing cameras. She was present before the fame fully crystallized, before the accolades became overwhelming. She was there when Nas was still becoming Nas. When their daughter Destiny was born, the pressure intensified. Success changes people. Fame magnifies insecurities. And cracks that might have been manageable in private become impossible to ignore under a spotlight. At the same time, Jay-Z was constructing his own empire from the ground up. Reasonable Doubt was poised to be a statement.
We've got that reputation, but at the end of the day, we made them pay up.
Yeah. A declaration that he belonged in the same conversation as the city's elite lyricists. He reportedly wanted Nas on Bring It On, a collaboration that would have symbolized unity at the top. But Nas didn't show up to the session. No explanation. No reschedule. Just silence. In hip-hop, silence can be louder than disrespect. That moment may have seemed small on the surface, but in an industry built on perception, it hit differently. To some, it was just a missed opportunity. To others, it was a message. And somewhere between bruised pride and competitive instinct, tension began to simmer. Carmen has admitted that during this period, both she and Nas were unfaithful. Their relationship was already unstable, fraying at the edges. And then Jay-Z entered the picture, not just as another man, but as Nas's direct competitor. The man chasing the same throne. The man measuring himself against Nas in every verse, every move. When Carmen began seeing Jay, she says she didn't fully grasp the brewing rivalry. To her, it may have felt like attention, validation, maybe even escape from a relationship that was already crumbling. But in hindsight, she would later question whether she was ever truly seen as a partner, or whether she was a pawn in a much larger chess match. Because once Nas found out, this wasn't just about infidelity anymore. It was about humiliation, about dominance, about who could strike harder. When Jay-Z dropped Takeover, it was calculated and confident. He dissected Nas's career, critiqued his output, questioned his relevance. It was sharp, but it still lived within the realm of lyrical warfare. Nas responded with Ether, and the temperature changed instantly. Ether wasn't just a diss track, it was surgical. It was personal. It was vicious in a way that felt almost cathartic. Fans still use the term ethered today to describe total lyrical destruction. But the real shift happened with Super Ugly. That record crossed into territory that made even hardened hip-hop fans uncomfortable. Jay didn't just attack Nas's artistry, he exposed the affair with Carmen in graphic detail. He put her name, her body, her intimacy, into a global arena. It was raw emotion spilling over the edge of strategy. And according to reports, even Jay's own mother felt it went too far, urging him to publicly apologize for dragging Carmen and young Destiny into the feud. Think about that for a moment. In a genre that rewards ruthlessness, it took a mother's voice to say, enough. And then there's the part that still lingers like a shadow. Carmen revealed that she became pregnant by Jay-Z during the affair. She later suffered a miscarriage in the first trimester. It wasn't planned. It wasn't some grand love story unfolding. It was complicated, fragile, and already surrounded by chaos. When asked about Jay's reaction, She stated that he didn't even know until after it had happened. As time passed, she began to reflect on the relationship differently. She suggested that Jay's involvement with her may have been fueled less by genuine affection and more by rivalry. That being with Naz's partner was its own form of victory. And when you step back, it forces an uncomfortable question. How much of this was about love, and how much was about power? Meanwhile, Wendy Williams was at the peak of her radio dominance, known for speaking boldly and often controversially about the industry's hidden layers. She suggested that this entire saga revealed something deeper about image control and media manipulation. She questioned why certain aspects of Jay's past, stabbings, drug history, personal scandals, rarely stuck in the public consciousness the way other artists' controversies did. And here's where the conversation becomes even more layered. Despite the ugliness of the feud, despite the emotional fallout, Jay-Z's career didn't crumble. It expanded. He evolved from street poet to corporate visionary, from rapper to mogul, from controversial figure to cultural institution. Eventually, he would stand beside Beyonce, forming one of the most powerful partnerships in entertainment history. Nas, too, would endure. He would grow, mature, and eventually reconcile publicly with Jay. The two former enemies would share stages, share respect, and rewrite the narrative as one of competition that sharpened them both. But reconciliation doesn't erase history. It reframes it. The story remains because it speaks to something timeless. Ambition can blur morality. Ego can turn intimacy into ammunition. And in the world of fame, perception often matters more than truth. Carmen's role in the feud became a permanent footnote in hip-hop history, even though she was living through real emotions, real heartbreak, real consequences. When fans debate who won, Takeover or Ether, they're usually talking about punchlines and flow. But beneath the bars was something heavier. Two men testing each other's dominance in every possible way. And one woman realizing too late that she had become part of the battlefield. Years later, the shine of legacy softens the edges. Jay-Z is viewed as a master strategist, a businessman who turned controversy into stepping stones. Nas is celebrated as a lyrical purist who stood his ground and delivered one of the greatest diss tracks of all time. The culture moved on. The headlines faded. But the questions remain. Was this simply competitive artistry taken to extremes? Or was it a calculated series of moves in a long game of dominance? Did emotion override strategy in the heat of battle, or was every step intentional? And when we look back at hip-hop's most iconic rivalries, do we fully acknowledge the human cost behind the entertainment? Because behind every legendary feud is more than just music. There are relationships, families, pride, regret. So now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this was just rap being rap? Or do you think there was a deeper level of manipulation at play? Did Jay-Z outmaneuver the narrative in the long run, or did Nas ultimately win where it mattered most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you appreciate storytelling that digs beneath the surface of hip-hop history,